everybody, it's Holly.
And Tim.
And today we're doing I Wonder Wednesday
together.
And the reason that we're doing this is because yesterday was our anniversary. Yay. And one of the questions that we've been asked from time to time is, how did we meet? I wonder how y'all met. So that's what we're answering today. And by the way, we're doing this on our lunch break, so we're drinking our lunch. What do you have today?
I got a strawberry shake, a very healthy lunch. Yes.
And I'm drinking chocolate. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of like protein shakes for lunch because sometimes we just have to grab and go.
Yeah.
And these work out well. So I have chocolate. Mm-hmm. He's got strawberry. So
yeah.
Anyway, so where do you want to start? How did we meet?
Well, we met online. It was over at Match.com.
So, Match.com, if you see this and you want to sponsor us, we would not be upset. So,
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically I tried a couple things. I tried Christian Mingle, but I couldn't really find what I was looking for. So then I tried to get like a bigger pool. So I tried Match.com. And all the while this was going on, I was simply praying and asking God to provide the right wife for me. And eventually, I bumped into different people. There were some people that were very friendly, but I could never really make anything, work, make anything stick. And then I came across Holly. I found her profile over at Match, and I was like, she's interesting. So I was trying to learn a little bit more about you.
Mm-hmm. So I ended up on Match.com as the result of a dare. I was living with a friend of mine at the time who was also a caregiver for me, and it was a cold January evening, and we really couldn't get out because it was just nasty cold weather, and we stayed at home that day and just decided to watch some TV. So we turned on Chonda Pierce. So, Chonda, if you see this, by all means, feel free to chime in because we're married because of you. But anyway, so we were watching Chonda Pierce. And if you don't know who she is, she's a Christian comedian. She's hilarious. And it's all clean, and, she's a follower of Jesus, and we just love it. So, anyway, my friend and I were watching her, and she was talking about how her husband had passed away, and sometime, years down the road, I don't remember, do you remember if her kids set her up online, or her friends, or do you remember?
That was one of those Chonda stories, and I'd been following Chonda too, but that was one of those Chonda stories that sort of I missed. Yeah. So I'd heard a number of others, like the Four-Eyed Blonde was just hilarious, and there were several others that were really funny, but the one about her husband dying, I wasn't even aware of that when I met up with Holly.
Yeah, it was a sad story, but, she let the Lord heal her through it, and it was just, she used that to help a lot of people. And so, in this video, she was talking about, having an online profile set up for her and what her online dating experience was like. And so my friend and I looked at one another and we said, what's wrong with us? Why can't we get any dates? And, it was, we're not online. So, I don't remember who said I dared you first, but one of us dared the other. And of course the other jumped right in. And so we dared each other to set up dating profiles, and we both ended up meeting someone and getting married. So, Tim and I celebrated how many years yesterday?
It's been 6 years now.
Yeah. I was hoping you remembered that. Yeah. So, we've been married for 6 years. And so how did you know that I was the one?
Oh, dang. You would have to give me a hard one. It was sort of like, it was one of those answers to prayer. before, I had even met Holly, the really big challenge in my life was just believing that God had somebody there available for me. And I know that
relate to that for me too.
Yeah, I know that when you've searched a long time and you're not finding the results that you want, it sometimes is very discouraging. And then the other big challenge was, if I believe it, I should put my actions where my mind says it should go, and I should try something. Get out there. Do something new, something I haven't done before. Like online dating. I had never even thought about online dating until, goodness, I was like in my late 30s or so. It's like, that's not how people meet,
Right. And I can kind of relate to that too, because, for me, one of the issues has always been, obviously, I deal with disability and I'm rolling around in a chair, and my life can be complicated at times. And to be honest, a lot of people over the years have not really, they don't know what to expect when they first encounter, someone like myself in a chair. I guess they don't know if I'm capable of having even a conversation, much less a relationship. I don't know. Maybe that was just what I thought. Maybe other people didn't think that, but I just know that I didn't date for years. And, so I felt like online dating for us was kind of cool, because it was like the modern version of the old school writing letters. That's kind of how it happened for us, through the dating apps. You get to know.
It was mostly chats at that time.
Yeah, it was mostly chats, and then it, sort of migrated to emails because our chats got too long it kept cutting them off, because we were chatting so long. But at any rate, what was interesting about that was we got to know each other, on an emotional or an internal level before even meeting in person. It was, how long was it before we actually met in person?
I thought it was just a month or maybe a little more.
I think it was about a month. So we didn't even see each other face to face for, at least a month. And all that time up until then, we just kind of wrote back and forth, and then we talked on the phone a lot.
Yeah. And getting back to your question, how did I know you were the one? I just realized it was an answer to prayer. My sister-in-law, Sonia, had told me to write a list of the things that I really needed in a woman. And so first of all, when you're going to write that list, you got to talk to God about it first. You can't just put stuff down.
That would be helpful.
Because if you do that, you might mention a lot of things that are maybe frivolous. Maybe not frivolous, but maybe small when compared to the things that you really need. Or things that God has in mind for you too. So while praying, I wrote down a list, and I divided my list into two parts, things I have to have in a woman and things I would really like to have in a woman. And after I wrote the list, I noticed that after I met Holly was actually lining up with almost everything on the list.
Imagine that.
And after... I still wasn't certain about it, but I think one of the biggest things that was in my mind was I wanted a woman that wasn't going to try to make me compromise my faith with God. And I found that unlike a lot of the women I had dated previously, Holly kept trying to drive me closer to God, Instead of trying to drive me away, she was like challenging me. It's like, hey, why don't you try this?
We've actually butted heads over that a few times. But,
yeah. And it really did help a lot to have somebody that was like that. Somebody who would sharpen you. Not just somebody who would be like, well, do whatever you want, It's all good. Because, no, it's not all good.
Well, it's like that scripture, iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
We have to build on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, so I'm going to answer the question too. How did I know that you were the one? So we have kind of a funny story, and I don't think we'll go into it in this video, but we actually planned a wedding twice. and canceled it both times, and then just got married kind of privately in the lobby of our church, and not a lot of people around. So it was a funny story, but like I said, I'm not going to go into that here. But how did I know that you were the one? So this is probably going to sound weird to a lot of people, but it's the truth. Just about 3 days before we connected on Match, I had a dream. And in the dream, the lady and I, that I said, my friend that was also my caregiver at the time, we were sitting on the porch of an apartment, and this gentleman walked by, and in the dream, he had blue eyes, and he was bald, he had no hair, and he was dressed in like a button-down shirt and just, looked nice. And he walked by and waved as he walked by, and we were, the friend and I were talking about leaves, and at the place where she lived, she had tons of leaves because there were all these trees around, and so I guess we were, talking about the leaves and having to get somebody to blow the leaves. And this guy walks by, waved, said hello, and then he turned and he came back and he said something like, and I don't remember the exact wording, but it was something like, I believe the Lord said that I'm supposed to blow your leaves for you. And we said, you don't have to do that. And he said, no, I want to help. And then I woke up. And that morning I told, my friend, I said, I think I dreamed about the man I'm going to marry. And at this point, we didn't live anymore where she did. We had just moved to a new city, and we were renting an apartment, and we frequently sat out on the porch. And so about 3 days later, I got the first contact from him. And as we got to know each other, obviously, he has blue eyes. Take off your glasses a second. Look at his eyes. Y'all can't see it. I love his eyelashes. He has eyelashes for days. But anyway, so he has the blue eyes and, obviously bald, and he always likes to dress nice. And that was cool to me. But as we got to know each other and we started talking, I said, what is it, that you like to do, or, what matters to you in helping, or, in doing something for the Lord? Like, what does that look like? And his answer was, I just like to help people. Whatever it is, I just like to help people. And when he said, I like to help people, it was an exact mirror of what the guy had said in my dream. So I said, I think he's the one. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of our story. So if you've ever wondered how we met, that's our story.
Yeah. We
kind of joke and we say, you're the best thing I ever found online.
It was a match made in heaven.
Yep. All right, so there's our story. Y'all have a great day. Bye.
God bless.